The amount of creators I've met who have lost so much money and have made so many mistakes or gone out of business because their taxes are messed up
Yeah.
or accounts don't understand them. It's just like, I remember this one accountant was like, what's Venmo? I'm like, what? Like, this other accountant gave us a fax number. I was like, oh, there's got to be a better way. And so for the past year, we've been building this.
Welcome to Creator Upload, your creator economy podcast. I'm Lauren Schnipper.
And I'm Joshua Cohen. Lauren.
What
kind of Christmas
describing
music are you
this
listening
podcast.
to?
Wait, hold on. I was describing this podcast to somebody the other day, and I was like, we just bicker the whole time, and people love it.
I feel like there's not as much bickering as there could be.
Oh my God. I think I'm
the pre-podcast show, tons of bickering.
Oh my, the pre-pod. If people knew what was happening before we actually started recording, it's definitely me. I'm gonna admit, like me, 100% yelling at Josh, like a lot, and getting very annoyed at all the things he doesn't do.
It's not untrue.
Is it too real? Anyway, sorry, you had a question for me? Go on.
Yeah, what kind of Christmas music are you listening to?
Well, I was just listening to the whole album the other day, which is just glorious, is Leslie Odom Jr. has a holiday album that I love. And then, of course, I'm listening to Idina Menzel's, obviously. And then, not to, change the subject, but Hanukkah music-wise, I'm obsessed with Matisyahu's Miracle. Also, of course, they did a thing on Dancing with the Stars with it, so I have to always drop that. But Matisyahu's got some great Hanukkah bangers, so that's kind of where I'm at.
I haven't heard that Matisyahu bop. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
And do you know what the world is basically listening to, though?
Tell me.
All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I mean, yes, Josh, of course.
By Mariah Carey. We all know this.
This is her season. This is her time to shine. This is
It
when she
is her
comes out of
season.
hibernation and she shows herself, she gives herself to the world, and then she crawls back in for the next 10 months.
After sleeping like 12 to 14 hours a day.
Yes, as she should.
Famously.
She's deserved of
As she
such
should.
things.
So there are estimates that she earns $2.5 to $3 million in royalties each holiday season just from the songs, streams, sales, radio play, and licensing, and nothing else. But what she does more on top of that are a bunch of different types of appearances. So this year on December 13th, she has her Mariah Carey's Here for It All holiday special airing on TikTok Live and Apple Music. Both TikTok Live and Apple Music will broadcast a special which will look to capitalize on Carey's seasonal popularity. According to one blog post, the All I Want for Christmas Is You has accrued 130 billion views to date. It seems low, honestly. But
total,
if you
like this holiday season or in total?
Just in total. But also that's a ton.
It's a lot.
But if you look at Gangnam Style, which was once the most viewed YouTube video of all time, still may or may not be, has 5.7 billion views. That 130 billion views to date just puts it in a little bit more perspective.
It sure does. Anyway, your point.
TikTok Global Head of Music, Tracy Gardner, said this in a statement: Mariah Carey isn't just part of the holidays, she is the holidays. And TikTok is where music culture happens in real time, and we're thrilled to bring her dazzling Vegas celebration to fans everywhere live.
So it's just going to be on TikTok Live? It's not going to be on broadcast at all?
TikTok Live and Apple Music.
That's crazy. I mean, she's historically done these on broadcast. So, God, what are they paying her? Well, good for her.
Probably got to be a ton.
Good for her.
And also TikTok just making everyone remember that it is for music too.
Yeah.
And discovery and culture and everything else.
Well, I think that's been evident for quite a while. But wow. Okay. Josh, can you believe we have been doing this podcast for almost 6 years?
Lauren, seriously? It only feels like, 20, 30?
More like 50, am I right?
Definitely 50.
Well, in anticipation of our 6th anniversary happening this February, we actually want to hear from you, our audience.
That is right. We're officially plugging and pushing the Creator Upload Survey. It's here. It's happening.
For the first time ever, we are interested in something other than ourselves. In partnership with Deep Water Strategies, who put this together for us, thank you very much, we want to learn about you.
It's truly historic. Please head to bit.ly/creator upload survey. That's bit.ly/creator upload survey and tell us all the things.
What you want more of? Me. What you want less of? Josh. And everything in between.
We'll be talking a lot about it, so just go to bit.ly/creator upload survey and make our lives way easier.
Exactly. Thanks for being with us all these years. Now go fill out the survey. bit.ly/creator upload survey. That's bit.ly/creator upload survey. Okay, before we get into our big stories, I want to note that Jon Youshaei, creator, entrepreneur, podcaster, also former employee of YouTube and Instagram, is going to be on the podcast to talk about his new venture, which is called Boring Stuff, which is doing exactly that. It's helping creators do their taxes. So really excited to talk to him about that. I promise conversations on taxes can be exciting, so just hold off for that. Um, and then, but before we get to that, I want to get to some big stories, and we would be remiss not to talk about the fact that Netflix has made a bid to buy Warner Brothers, and this is just like blown up the entertainment industry at large. So they announced last week that it would be purchasing Warner Brothers Discovery Studio in a deal valued at $82.7 billion, also known as 27.775 per share. And there was an intense bidding war, but then the following, I think, day, Paramount launched a hostile bid offering $30 a share for Warner Brothers.
Lauren, quick, just aside on this. Do you know what a hostile bid is? I never quite knew what it was.
I mean,
but do you know what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically coming in higher in the last minute after things were agreed upon. And basically, you've got shareholders whose arguably responsibility is to take the higher bid. And so it's sort of as I understand it, it's like a last minute coming in and just trying to like, throw everything off to after things were already agreed to.
Right. So it's like in any type of bid like this, the shareholders have to approve it.
Correct.
And so the board of directors did this deal with Netflix that they would then
Yes.
put to shareholder approval.
Yes.
And what a hostile bid is anything that kind of bypasses the board of directors or the people in charge.
Yep.
And so they're launching this hostile bid, trying to persuade the hearts and minds and watches and bank accounts and yachts and 401ks of WBD stockholders in this way that bypasses the board.
Yes.
So that's what a hostile bid is.
Yes, I roughly kind of understood that. So yes. And so Paramount CEO David Ellison said, our public offer, which is on the same terms we provided to the Warner Brothers Discovery Board of Directors in private, provides superior value and a more certain and quicker path to completion. Now, Netflix is arguing that one of the reasons that they should be able to acquire Warner Brothers is because in combination, the market share between Netflix and Warner Brothers will still be less than what YouTube has in terms of market share of TV viewing audiences. So basically,
because a deal of this size in any capacity has to go through some regulatory approval.
Correct.
And there were some concerns that they would not pass that regulatory approval, especially because Larry Ellison's involved with Paramount. Larry Ellison is boys with Donald Trump.
Yeah, but it's more about like the idea that this could be a monopoly. And so basically, Sarandos and Greg Peters said that the new deal in its entirety would still stand behind YouTube in terms of watch time. They said we go from 8% of viewed hours today in the United States to 9%. We're still behind YouTube at 13%. HBO Max currently accounts for about 1.2% of watch time, according to Nielsen. Meanwhile, he specifically pointed out that if Paramount acquired Warner Brothers, the newly combined portion of U.S. viewership would jump to 13.8%. That would put them above the YouTube, and insinuating that Paramount is bigger in terms of an anti-competitive threat to Netflix. So basically they're saying, yeah, our bid might be a little bit less expensive, or we might not be paying as much, but we're not going to be a monopoly because we're going to be behind YouTube. And that's just an interesting argument to make, but I appreciate the strategy. And so he said, Greg Peters, who's the co-CEO of Netflix, says, we think that there's a really strong fundamentals-based case here for why regulators should approve this deal.
Also, it's worth noting here that Paramount itself isn't a huge company. Its market cap is around $10 billion. The price it's looking to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery at is north of $100 billion. So where's it coming with this extra money? Well, one source could be Larry Ellison. David Ellison is the CEO of Paramount. His dad, Larry Ellison, CEO and founder of Oracle, is the second or third most richest person in the world, depending on the day. So perhaps he could be dipping into those coffers. But also it's been reported that the bid is backed by funding from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, plus cash from Affinity Partners, which is the Jared Kushner-founded firm that also just helped to acquire Electronic Arts in a $55 billion deal with the Saudis. So that's a very well-financed and capitalized group. Should Paramount actually win this bid if Netflix gets into some regulatory choppy waters with their potential acquisition here? It should be noted, too, that Netflix has to pay a $5 billion breakup fee if the deal doesn't come through.
Right.
They've also been anticipating that it would take anywhere from 12 to 18 months for the deal to finalize after it goes through all this regulatory approval. So we still got a ways to go before this actually happens. And in the meantime, they're actually blocking a potential competitor from getting in on these assets. So it's kind of a win-win all around for them.
What do you mean blocking a competitor? What do you mean by
Well, while they're going through this regulatory approval, assuming this bid holds up for now, no one else can come in and acquire the WBD assets.
that? Right.
So worst case scenario, they're paying a $5 billion breakup fee in 12 to 18 months. Meanwhile, no one else would be able to acquire any of these assets and put it into their own portfolio and build up their own media and streaming and television and broadcast empire.
Yeah, and it takes something like 12 to 18 months to get these things passed through regulatory channels and stuff. So we'll see. What this is far from over, kids.
I think it's also just interesting here too, in that like this would have been a much different conversation, or at least Ted Sarandos would have had this YouTube kind of scapegoat if this deal was happening 2-3 years ago. It's wild how fast the world changes. Same thing kind of occurred in a similar way, just with the incredible pace of the advancement of technology, with the Google antitrust lawsuit that was in front of the DOJ. And Judge Amit Mehta found Google liable in 2024 of the search monopoly suit that the DOJ brought against it. But then in 2025, he imposed these remedies that were much lighter than people would have suspected. And he cited that AI did play into his calculation of what should be the next steps. He explicitly noted that the rise of generative AI systems like ChatGPT and more changed his assessment and helped to justify narrower remedies rather than a structural breakup of like Chrome from Google and AdSense from Google and more. So times they are changing fast and having legal implications.
Very fast.
Totally. This wonderful installment of Creator Upload is brought to you by Viral Nation. Viral Nation is a leading global social media marketing and creator agency with a social-first approach powered by its brand-safe technology.
Viral Nation powers global growth for brands like e.l.f. Cosmetics, Audible, A24, MGM Resorts International, Microsoft, Meta, Tencent, Zillow, and Walmart, redefining how brands engage and thrive in an ever-evolving digital world.
Take your content to new heights with Viral Nation.
Next up, and what is actually just like a massive news is that Australia has, as of December 10th, banned social media for anybody under the age of 16. So this measure passed a year ago. And what's really interesting is that this all started because the wife of effectively a governor in Australia read Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, looked at her husband and is like, what are you going to do about this? And The Anxious Generation, of course, is a book that basically, the thesis of which is like we have overprotected kids in person and underprotected them online, and like them being on social media 7-8 hours a day, which many kids are, has been just totally detrimental to their health and well-being and led to terrible things. And so, I think it's worth noting that his thesis is not no screens at all. It's just about understanding how much time your kids are spending on a screen, regulating it. It passed a year ago, and so the measure passed a year ago requires the technology companies behind the platforms Facebook, Instagram, Kik, Reddit, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, Twitch, X, and YouTube to identify and disable the accounts of Australian users who are under 16. Under the law, failure to take reasonable steps to remove underage users could lead to fines of up to 49.5 million Australian dollars, which is the equivalent of about 33 American dollars. And so this is huge. I mean, yes, Josh always, who are you? Josh always likes to point out that Australia has the population of like, one major city in this country, maybe two. However,
to be clear, Australia has like 27 million people. The United States has 340 million people. So
correct.
It's a market, sure, but it's not a very big market.
But in the market of social media in general, like the major markets are English-speaking countries. So it's not an insignificant market. And also, I think it's worth noting that like relative to the amount of population in Australia, there's a lot of really good actors that came out of Australia. I just want to
like the Hemsworth family like just bumps it up
like literally
a couple percentage points overall.
Hemsworth alone. Like I'm just like, what are we doing? And so it's really, really interesting. I mean, Jonathan Haidt said something like, finally we are allowing children that did not sign up for the social media, this social experiment to go live their lives now. And, it's interesting. I listened to a podcast on The Atlantic the other day about a woman who was sort of saying, banning is not the answer. Like it's like you have to teach kids how to use it responsibly because they're going to just on 16, they're going to just like go crazy. I call bullshit on that because I'm like, you could make the argument there are plenty 14-year-olds that could drive a car. plenty of them. It doesn't mean we should give them a license. It doesn't mean that like I think I agree that like in preparation for turning 16, you should have education and understanding about how to use social media. It's not like never talk about it. And like they're going to watch certain things. There's going to be screens, there's going to be things, but I think there's no reason for the kids to be on it as much as they have been. And I don't know. I think there's going to be a ton. I mean, a lot of countries are following suit. I think it's where is it? Denmark. So at the UN General Assembly, a lot of other countries were talking about they're going to sort of enact similar things, including Denmark and Malaysia. They're planning similar restrictions. I think what's also worth noting is the whole notion that these companies are unable to identify which kids are actually 16 or under. And the truth is they're absolutely able to do it. And any notion that they can't do it is complete and utter bullshit. And so I'm calling bullshit on that. So when they're faced with a fine of $30 million every time, like, or how, I don't know if it's every time or whatever, like, one $30 million fine for a platform is no big deal, but that happening several times is no joke. And so I think this is the world, in my opinion, is going to be watching. I don't really have faith that as much as I think this would be great for this country, we have a legislator that doesn't like to legislate. And even when they do, they don't actually follow through with the legislation. See the TikTok ban that was passed, bipartisan pass in the legislature. So I think that it's going to be very interesting in the next, like, they're going to do tons of studies around teenagers. And I mean, the amount of suicides, and depression and like sextorting that's going on with kids. I mean, there's a huge epidemic of a network that is targeting specifically young boys, pretending to be like cute girls from a neighboring school, basically asking for dick pics. Then they extort the kids and say, give me $500 or I'm going to, spread these dick pics everywhere, and they kill themselves. I mean, this is a real thing that's happening. It's like really true. I said this to my friend who's got like teenagers, and I was like, you better tell your kids about this. Because by the way, she's divorced and like had to get her kids' phones kind of young because her ex-husband's an asshole. And so, that's a situation where I understand it. And she's like, do I have to call him dick pics? I'm like, girl, you call them whatever you want, but you tell those motherfuckers not to send any naked pictures of themselves anywhere. And so my point is like, I know your children are like literally online 24/7, but like, please tell them not to send any dick pics. It's really terrible. It's like an epidemic.
People playing creator upload bingo right now are just wasted. They're just on the floor, just passed out, just hammered.
I'm just saying, I am excited to learn over the next few years what the data comes out of this. I really think it's going to be interesting. And I think, by the way, the kids are going to be fine. It's like, how am I going to get in touch with my friends? Get their phone numbers and text them. Like, we all grew up somehow without phones. And I recognize that, like, I don't want to seem like an old whatever. Like, I get it. And obviously we are proponents and love the creator economy, but it doesn't mean the kids should be on their phones 24/7.
I totally agree kids shouldn't be on their phones 24/7. I totally agree that this social media addiction or these habits are generally might be net negative. I also like the fact that this is only happening in Australia. Because this is happening, to your point, it is going to provide some good data.
Yeah.
And it's going to give us some insight into how these kids function and operate in the next several years.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think what's less studied, but an equally important part of the internet are people from marginalized communities, whether that's socioeconomic, niche, sexual, whatever. They're able to find people like them online. And I think they can be really formative and important for kids when they're going through these developmental stages of life. And saying that we are going to now almost entirely, for all intents and purposes, limit those types of interactions and discovery and make you unable to access the kind of forum and space online that gave you more of a sense of self and knowing and being able to communicate and convene with people like you, I think could have equally negative consequences. And it's not studied as much. People are hand-wringing and up in arms about all the bad things that are happening online. And I agree there's a ton of bad things that are happening online. But especially for kids at this formative age, I think there's a ton of good things that are happening online too.
I think that you're totally wrong, and I think people study that, and I think people are talking about that, and the people that are critics of this say that exact same thing. And I think the truth of the matter is the amount of kids that are going to be negatively affected is far less than the amount of kids that are negatively affected by not connecting with other folks on social media. It doesn't compare to the kids that are negatively affected by spending all their time on social media. And to your point, this is not forever. This is 16. Number two, like you can still go on your computer and go on YouTube and find those creators that like look at these
Sure.
things. This isn't like, so I don't think the idea that this is like putting people in some hole where they're never going to be able to access any content other than like what their parents watch online. Like, I just think that's you know, baloney. I'm going to use, I just think it's not, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of resources out there, and I get it. I'm not saying there's nobody that's going to be negative, that's going to be negatively affected by this. Like I understand that, and I appreciate that. But that's what data is for, and so the statistics, I think.
And so we'll see what the statistics play out, though.
We'll see what they are.
It is worth noting that YouTube originally wasn't part of this ban, and then got folded into this ban as well.
I think it's worth noting that 2 Australian teenagers backed by an advocacy group filed a constitutional challenge to the law in the country's high court before it went into effect, arguing that it infringes on their right to political communication. Australian media also reported that Reddit was preparing to sue over the law. So, the bottom line is there's going to be a ton of lawsuits. And in the interim, they're going to collect a lot of data, and then we're going to see what happens. And I'm, for one, very interested in what the data comes around. I also think that, these kinds of things inspire a lot of creativity. So I'm very excited to see what Australian kids do with themselves and their time when they're not spending 7 hours a day on their phones, and what kind of creative things that they do and ways that how they can reach those kind of people that they feel are marginalized. I think that there's a lot of exciting things that can come from this.
Sure, we'll see.
We'll see. We know what side you're on. Okay. We are going to get to founder, creator, legend, Jon Youshaei, founder of Boring Stuff. Jon Youshaei, welcome to Creator Upload. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you. And guys, happy 6-year anniversary. I just got to say that right off.
Thank you so much. That's so kind of you.
Oh, I listen to the show. I know your outro by heart.
Do you
Today's episode
really?
is produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen. Hey, that's me.
Oh my
Adam
God.
Conover, and the music's by London Bridge.
Oh my God. Look, Josh is getting embarrassed. Look at us.
Look, he's getting red.
I am.
I hope. Are you blushing, Josh?
A little bit, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
Come
wow.
on, your effusive praise? Why? How wouldn't I blush?
Oh my gosh. Wow. I don't even, you caught me off guard. Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Did you fill out the survey?
Lauren, I love how you roast Josh. That is probably one of the best, just that's the most loving, and please keep that going. And
Thank you.
I just love in the outro how Josh says, "Hey, that's me." We know that. We know.
Yeah, we know. No, it's weird because the meaner I am to that, the more people to Josh, the more people listen. And so I listen, I give the audience what they crave, what they need.
It's a retention mechanism. I got it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Got it. No, I see
well, yes. Well, we're joined by a real professional here in the space. Although we are both alums of big platforms, which is something we have in common. But we're here to really talk about Boring Stuff. So you've launched a new sort of company. Just give us the logline. Tell us what Boring Stuff is.
Yeah, Boring Stuff is a new company that we've launched that does accounting, bookkeeping, basically all the boring paperwork, payroll, HR for creators. And I'm proud to have started it with my co-founders, Amanda Markovich, which is also my business partner, my better half, my wife. She's run our production for our business for the past 3 years and grown our company. So I'm really excited for her to bring her expertise to Boring Stuff, as well as other creators who are signing up. Zach Carnavar, who is, I think, one of the sharpest minds in the creator economy, has managed Airac, Yes Theory. Just been a guy for years that I've called a friend and to now call a co-founder. I'm so excited about that. And we almost came to this idea independently, where he was thinking about this, Amanda and I were thinking about this, and we merged paths. And then Varun, who really brings in the accounting and just financial expertise and manages a lot of the tactical, getting in there, bringing the accountants and knowing how to maximize write-offs. Think about all the things that, again, creators hate. And it's such a I never thought I'd be excited about accounting and taxes and starting a podcast with that, but you guys do a lot of interviews, and there's a lot of things that get talked about on camera and off camera, and the amount of creators I've met who have lost so much money and have made so many mistakes or gone out of business because their taxes are messed up, or accounts don't understand them, is just I was oh, there's got to be a better way. And so for the past year, we've been building this.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I want to be candid. Like, you're not the first person to sort of try to start do this. This is to try to do this. Having worked at Jelly Smack, I looked at a lot of companies who are doing this, and so I'm just curious. Not only do creators not do their taxes, a lot of them correctly, a lot of them don't do it at all, and don't even want to have a conversation about doing it at all. So, like, this is why, in my opinion, this has not really taken off. Other sort of versions of this that have sort of been attempted, right? So, like, what do you think? I mean, I think having you as a face behind it actually is a differentiator, whether or not the services specifically are a differentiator. So, to my opinion, that is a differentiator and potentially a game changer. But what do you think you're bringing to the table that others haven't? Like, is there a tech component to this, or is this really just like your CPA kind of deal?
No, no. Well, there's a few things to it. I'm so involved, like in this where like like our website and like thinking about like the monthly reports and like how well designed it is, and I think there's a few things. One, we studied the space quite a bit. There's never been a creator who's been involved and embedded in co-founding one of the companies, and so I think bringing that level of just I don't want to use the word empathy, but understanding of like this is not gonna resonate. This is a bunch of jargon. Like this is important, but the way you communicate it matters. The second thing is speed. Like a lot of like these accountants are like, yeah, 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 yeah. We'll talk to you in 3 to 5 business days. And if we're being honest, creators are last minute people, and you may tell them, hey, plan ahead, do all this stuff, but when I need to tweak this thumbnail and work on that edit, and like there's things that I'm racing on creatively, which there's no endpoint to that. I might start thinking about my estimated taxes or my annual return like way too late. And so we've developed like a concierge service where our accountants are ready to go and ready to respond as soon as possible. And
That's
so
smart.
like moving as fast as creators do, being for creators by creators, and I always say this to our team as we've grown is like everyone on our team, whether they're an editor, whether they're a writer, they're a designer, and like on the accounting side, our reports, like I really want to make it so clear that hey, this is how much you're spending per month. This is how much you're
No, and
making.
people don't know. I mean, when I started working with Shane, you just reminded me when I started working with Shane Dawson 120 years ago, he would just buy new costumes every single week because he couldn't deal with organizing. And so one of the first things I did was hire an organizer just to literally like organize his closet. And then I had found out that like, he had set up a pension and hadn't put any money into it. And so like I've been thinking about this stuff since like 2010 and 2011. He did all the things, and probably sharing too much information, but whatever, it's fine. But I think it's absolutely needed. It's just a question of will it be received. And what would be, because you've been doing this for about a year sort of in stealth mode. And I know you said I think the Try Guys and Airac have all been sort of like, I guess, your first kind of customers. What do you think how have they changed how you've sort of built this? Like as you've evolved this over the course of the year?
Yeah, and them coming in and being clients, and also like having clients from like different creators with different audience sizes, creators from different verticals, has just allowed us to understand like, okay, what are the different write-offs? What are the things we could do to like maximize our services? And then the other thing is like, yes, we have like a regular like fee, but like monthly fee, but we'll flex up or down depending on the creator. So certain creators like want more HR support or payroll. Not every creator is hiring. Some of them are solo operations. And so there's different things that we have to do to meet their accounting needs and the price point. So I think the biggest thing we've tried to do in the past year is go slow. Like we're dealing with people's finances. This is serious stuff. We want to bring in like real experts, and then like kind of marry that with everything that we know about the creator space, and even like what Amanda has done for our business. Like one of the more helpful things is that like I'm so focused on the creative. Sometimes I spend way too much on the video. Like, oh, let's get another camera there. Let's edit that intro more. Let's get more graphics in. And Amanda went through this whole exercise of like, this is your cost per video on
Right.
YouTube. Did you know
Right.
this?
Yeah.
And then here's like, okay, I added the AdSense, the sponsorship, and so it's like just getting really granular of like, this is how much we
Understanding your
spend.
business is I
Understand?
mean,
Yeah.
even like Jimmy, MrBeast is now scaling back a little bit. Like he's like, I mean, he lost everything I'm reading. He lost so much money on the Amazon deal. He lost so much. I mean, you at a certain point, if you spend more than you make, things are not going to go well. And if you don't pay your taxes, like it will end badly. So like, I think what I love about this, and I have in all the versions of that I've seen in the, is like it's like helping folks have sustainable careers. And it's also helping it's helping them, yeah, like, have longevity and not burn out and understand what their business is. And so I think this is exciting. Josh, do you have questions?
Yeah, John. So I'm stoked on this business. I want to look at it through that lens. So are you all with boring stuff? Are you filling a marketing void or an expertise void in the current
That's a
landscape?
great question.
Don't give
Both.
them too much credit.
There needs to be like a bingo or drinking game every time that Lauren roasts Josh. Like, I think I just counted 2 or 3 so far for this
Okay.
episode.
Okay. Okay.
Audience at home, like, please keep
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
Both, Josh. I think it's a great question. One, it's like, I think that, it's just like, if you ask a lot of creators, I don't think they know that estimated taxes are a thing, or a lot of them leave.
What are estimated taxes for those that don't know?
You got to pay taxes every quarter, and you got to estimate them and really think about like what
because
your
you're not
revenue was
getting
for the
them like a normal W-2 job where you would get them taken out, whereas a creator,
Exactly.
right?
That's
Right.
the biggest thing, is like creators don't realize, because they a lot of them may come from a full-time job, that their taxes were withheld by their
Right.
employer.
Right.
And then they get to the end of the year, they're like, "What are you talking about? I owe this much." And so part of it is like marketing and education. The other part is execution. Like, I don't want to like talk bad about a lot of these accountants, but we went through them. Like, we didn't set out and like come into the creator space and be like, we want to start this kind of company. We set out to be creators and to start a production company and a studio, and to really like have like an interview show, and now do like more behind the scenes documentary. And then this was just a pain that we felt as we went through a ton of accountants who, quite frankly, were dinosaurs, and like they didn't understand the different ways that creators make money. I remember this one accountant was like, what's Venmo? I'm like, what? Like, this other accountant gave us a fax number. I'm like, and then a lot of creators, like it's not just like, oh, we're going based on our own anecdotal experience. Like, we did so much research where it's like a lot of creators go to their uncle
Of
or
course.
their
Yeah.
family friend, or like their accountant is their family accountant. And that is like a suboptimal, where you ask a few questions like, hey, okay, so you film at home. How much of your home studio is being written off your taxes? None? Oh, okay. You're actually losing a ton of money that you right. Like, these aren't like loopholes per se. These are like things that, if you know about, you could save money, invest back into your creator business and your content, make it better, grow faster. It's just, I think creators, and maybe I'm speaking more from experience, our constant state is drowning. You know, it's just like there's always more to do.
Tell us more, John. Tell us more. Are you okay? Like,
Well,
we want
just
to make sure.
this particular season, we're like, and as I was telling you guys before, we're like editing like this massive docu-series that I can't wait to go out in the new year. It's
There's a lot going-
it's like we're working with Jimmy, and it's like about like season 2 of Beast Games and the making of, and so it's that plus this. It's just so much stuff, but I'm excited. A lot of this stuff is coming to fruition. I really, it's fun to have boring stuff out there after building it for a year.
And so you just said that you created this because you saw a hole in the market, in that there weren't lots of people that had the expertise that you needed in order to accomplish lots of these just like bare business goals and practices. And then you started this presumably because you think this could be like a meaningful business. How big of a market do you think this is? How many like clients do you have now? How many clients are you hoping to get in the future? Tell us about the trajectory here.
I think, thinking about the total addressable market is like, I think it could be huge. Do I have an exact number or an exit? Like, not really. Like, I think we're thinking about this as just like, let's start a business that we know there's a need, like have it be cash flow positive, and start like building like, like a cornerstone of the creator economy, where creators get to a certain size. They're like, we should check out boring stuff. We should have a conversation with them. Right now, we have about 25 clients. As of yesterday, like we've gotten so much inbound. Like, we're having like a lot of onboarding calls, and it's the first time we're talking about publicly. And we have bandwidth to take on more clients. So it's like one of those things where I think it's a bit like ironic as a creator, who you see numbers in front of you so much with YouTube Studio and all the views and like counts on these social media platforms, and you're like, let's push it. But with this, I'm like, let's go slow, and let's do it right. Again, this is the most serious thing we can do, where it's like people's finances and taxes, and just being super like buttoned up is important. So yeah, it's just like going about it differently.
I think that's great. Well, how can people get in touch with you, and if they want to, start using boring stuff, how would they find you?
If you want to get in touch, go to boring-stuff.com. And right now we're giving a free consultation to folks who go to the link, sign up, and we're pretty fast with getting in touch. Also, if you DM me at Youshaei, Youshaei on any socials, particularly Instagram, like have any questions. I've actually been responding to a lot of folks, and don't be surprised if you see me like sometimes I see somebody like contact, and I'm like, oh, like I know that person. I reach out and like I'm trying to be very involved in just like how's the onboarding, how's it feel. So all this stuff like matters a lot to me. So if you guys are interested, if you're a creator who's listening, if you're an agency who's looking to partner, like we've been getting all sorts of inbound, we're excited to have all those conversations right now. And I think this is something that like again, more to come, but like we're really excited about this. And I think like again, there's only two things I think that are certain. What is that term, like death and taxes?
Death and taxes. Yep.
We're not starting a morgue.
Yeah.
So and I
Although
think taxes
expansion, I feel like that might be just kidding.
Definitely
Just
not.
kidding.
Definitely not.
Just
But
kidding.
taxes, I think, yeah.
I also think this is a fantastic idea. One of the best businesses to start is if you go find a successful business that still uses a fax machine. Just go do whatever they're doing and update it to live in the 21st century. And I think that's basically what you've done here in lots of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
real.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on, Jon. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Jon, thanks, man. Always a pleasure.
Of course. Of course.
Thank you so much, Jon. Always great to have you on.
Jon, that was fantastic. Lauren, I really love how all of this back office work that individuals have to do that are really like, yes, creators are just small businesses, but there are some unique idiosyncrasies that I think necessitate a company like Boring Stuff to come in and work with them at large. I think this can be a big thing.
Yeah, I just hope creators use it because they need to do their taxes. You know what I'm saying? As an example. Okay, let's get to some uploads and downloads. I think interesting uploads. The New York Times Deal Book Summit happened this week, and MrBeast, Jimmy and Allison, was there, made a lot of interesting sort of announcements. Some of them sort of new, some of them not, just more fleshed out, but basically saying he's planning to shift some of his focus from sort of spectacle-based videos to more impactful storytelling. Like he's really like focusing on that. He also wants to kind of diversify his brand away from like his face, that's also known as like key man risk, and really wants to focus on just like Beast as a brand and not MrBeast the person. And then he's trying to focus on a lot of like sort of longer formats. And I spoke with somebody who actually was there, and I don't know if he said this on stage, but or overheard or something. One of the reasons he wants to do longer format is he knows that parents are getting really nervous about letting their kids on YouTube all the time. So he wants to create content that can be licensed to streamers and other places that has necessarily to be sort of longer. And he gives sort of parents options other than YouTube to watch his content. So I think that's really interesting.
And Lauren, Jeffrey Housenbold, Beast CEO, was also at the Deal Book Summit and said on stage that they're expanding into 3 new areas. One is Beast Finance, which we've talked about before. The second is Beast Mobile Phones, which I think we've also talked about before. And the third is an influencer marketing platform where Beast wants to get in on the influencer marketing game, similar to how they launched ViewStats, which is a YouTube stats site that will help you analyze YouTube in the same way that MrBeast has done it for years. They want to help other creators get brand deals too.
We'll see. I mean, there's been a lot of influencer marketing platforms out there, so we'll see how this goes.
And the influencer marketing platform of this seems to be like the lowest potential big money maker. Like Influential sold to Publicis for $500 million. Sure, that's great. That's a fantastic outcome. But I don't think that's the kind of business Jimmy's looking to make.
Well, that's also like not the norm. Let's be real. I mean, listen, influencer marketing platforms, I analyzed a ton of them when I was at Jelly Smack, and like, there's not a lot of great ones out there. And so the ones that are sort of profitable, they're usually like pretty profitable, or they're like not at all for a very long time. And so, and I will say that most of the technology for these platforms is not very differentiated. So it's usually about first to market and the roster that you have of creators. And obviously Jimmy's probably going to like do really well with the roster piece of it all. So we'll see if the actual product does anything, but who knows? I mean, there's been a lot of stops and starts with influencer marketing. So we'll see.
First, here's my upload. Whatnot, the social live shopping app and destination site, which recently raised $225 million at an $11.5 billion valuation. This was back in October. Just released its kind of 2025 shopping trends. And there are a bunch here. What I think is the most interesting one is that WNBA cards are on fire. In 2025, search traffic for those cards increased 3 times faster than for NBA trading cards. At the top of the pyramid, a Caitlin Clark rookie card broke records by fetching a $660,000 price on Whatnot. Lauren, I think that's it. I'll see you talking to, I don't know, Hal Prince and Cameron McIntosh and other just titans of Broadway production to put your own bid together for Warner Bros. Discovery.
I mean, we have to talk about how you came up with those names. I'm so impressed. Well done, ChatGPT.
What would you do? Just like live streaming of Broadway shows?
All day, every day.
And if not there, next week on Creator Upload. Today's show was produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen, that's me, and Adam Connor.
We know
Yeah.
that. We know.
Yeah, we know.
It's edited by Adam Connor too. Original music is by London Bridge. You can check him out on Instagram at London Bridge Music. Make sure you subscribe to Creator Upload right here on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts as well, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. While you're there, give us a rating and leave us a comment. If you want to talk, hit us up at info@creatorupload.com. If you like our show, recommend it to a friend. If you love it, just tell everyone. Thanks for listening to Creator Upload, and we will be back next week.